What directed your life into a company right now that's turning close on $1 billion a year?
This is certainly not a prepared response. I think it started with a chocolate. My mom had to, from not having to work then to actually hold down 2 jobs. And I remember recalling one day walking home from school and really felt like a chocolate. And I thought, one day I'm going to be able to buy a chocolate for myself anywhere, anytime I wanted. So I was inspired by that.
Was there a certain shift or a certain change in life that made you go, this is my purpose in life and this is actually where I need to be?
Yeah, it was around about 2009 when I was offered the position of MD with TableCharm. And I initially declined it. At the time I was questioning his spirituality. Does God exist? Does a minister believe in what he's saying? And it became quite spiritual, but it was people that ultimately recognize what you don't see in yourself. And I think people helped me realize that I've got a potential to step up and give hope and opportunity to a group of people that don't see it for themselves.
Quick one, give me 30 seconds of your time. Firstly, thank you very much for taking the time out to watch this video. I really hope that you do enjoy it. And the whole goal and what we want to achieve is getting to know people better through the 4 aspects of their life, through their spirituality, through their health, through their business, as well as their family. So enjoy it with us. And if you do enjoy this, can I ask you one thing, is to please subscribe and keep active and keep watching us, and let's grow this thing in South Africa together. Hi guys, and welcome to Wholeful, our first episode. It's really going to be exciting. I've got Mike Whitehouse that is going to be joining me today, and I'm very excited about this. I think it's an amazing opportunity and a great way for us to meet businessmen, sportsmen, musicians, and get to know a little bit deeper in their lives about what they do and how they do things. So, Mike, welcome, and thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. You're a person I've always looked up to. You inspire me a lot, and the reason I want you here today is because I want to get to really delve deeper into what you see as being wholeful and what you see in your business. How do you run your business? How did you start your business? So maybe we can start off just maybe from the beginning side. I mean, I know you grew up in Springside, and maybe you can tell me a bit about your upbringing and, where you've come from and how you got to where you are right now.
Yeah, sure. Well, fantastic to be here today, and thank you for inviting me. Great initiative. I'm a firm believer in highest energy wins, and you've certainly been one of those people that have great energy, but energy that inspires others. And it's fantastic to be here. Born in Springs, East Rand, quite proud of it because I believe it's humble beginnings that make great people and develop people. I've been in the industry of direct selling and multi-level marketing for 30 years. Background is financial. I like numbers. In fact, my personality profile tells me that give Michael the facts, be brief, short, leave. I like numbers. I'm comfortable with numbers. But this industry has inspired me about people and relationship, and that's been a big drive. I don't often talk about looking back in the past. We can learn from the past, but I'm a Pambili boy. We're looking forward. And so it's great to be here and to chat to you. Yeah. So I did my articles at Ernst & Young, and that set me up foundationally. But I think what's more important, what sets people up is the people that you surround yourself with, and the experiences that you endure and go through life. I didn't necessarily have a plain easy life. I was one of 5 kids and from a divorced family, and so my mother actually inspired me a lot, in a number of ways. Hard work, belief. I believe in women, how powerful they are. I mean, in fact, it's it's Women's Month, isn't it? So it's fantastic to actually sit here, because I represent an organization that's made of thousands and thousands of women that have grown TableCharm into what it is today. And it was through my mom recognizing that hard work does pay off, and people who endure conquer. But more importantly, what I learned most from her was her spirituality and turning towards Christ and God as in every daily activity. And then she was a sportsman. We played tennis together, and we had a lot of good times on the tennis court, and that's why we've related to each other, because we like our sport, we like business, we like people, we like spirituality and going to church. So I've had a interesting time, and I'm in the 50s now, and it's not about age though.
Yeah. What directed your life into a company right now that's turning close on $1 billion a year? You've got 60,000 agents plus in the field. You've created such a success in the market, and it just feels like everything you kind of touch turns to gold. But what was when you were younger, what was, let's call it your dream to become before TableCharm? What were you actually wanting to do, and what actually kind of changed your direction into TableCharm? How did you get into it? How did that process happen?
It's funny enough you just mentioned it. This is certainly not a prepared response, but I think it started with a chocolate.
Was it a Cadbury or Nestle?
They say keep it simple. I actually do recall walking home from school. My mom had to, from not having to work then to actually hold down 2 jobs. We had to kind of make do, go to school but find your own way home.
Yeah.
And I remember recalling one day walking home from school, and I really felt like a chocolate. And I thought, one day I'm going to be able to buy a chocolate for myself anywhere, anytime I want it. Yeah. And so I was inspired by that. It's a simple thing, but a micro goal, I suppose, in the bigger stratosphere of things. And it was really that. But I think it's really been transformed into, doing, I never was, there's something in our industry, we talk about Zenzele, it's kind of do it for yourself. But for me, it's always been to do it with somebody, for others, and giving back. But at the rough beginnings of things, I think it was just belief in wanting to do something in life. It's as simple as that, because many of us change our careers so often that you can't predetermine what's happening. And certainly in those days, it was probably a lot easier. There was just simple, I'm going to become a doctor or an artisan or a lawyer or an accountant. Nowadays, look at the different natures and types of jobs, and look what we're doing today, doing a podcast. That wasn't there in our industry.
Yeah.
We were driven initially and primarily by meetings and catalogs. There was not a digital world, and that whole digital transformation has happened, and that's where we're sitting today. Just be it how we connect to people digitally and with one another, and with the whole world of AI and ChatGPT. The world's changing quite quickly. For me, I embraced change, I suppose, and I think that's what helped me navigate quite well at this stage.
And talking about change, I know you and I talk about change a lot, and obviously there's a lot of people out there that are really scared of change. Maybe what would you say to people that is change a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Is it a scary thing? What makes you enjoy change?
It basically it helps me achieve my purpose quicker. I think one thing that will never change, and I think what's overarching, is to have goals, all right? But goals that I inspire myself, right? Because to have a goal, for example, my goal might be I want to go and run the Comrades. But am I going to go and buy a set of running shoes tomorrow? And so a goal must be inspire enough to go and buy those running shoes. And navigating through change, I feel that it just ultimately, be it like new digital enhancements, being able to communicate not face to face but with thousands of people at any given time, that's essentially what we're doing today. It's not just a one-on-one. You can share and create shareable content. But yeah, from a change point of view, I've always embrace change, because I feel if we're not changing, we're not evolving. I believe that excellence was once set by somebody, but there's a new kind of level of excellence. So that excellence is just ultimately getting higher and higher. I mean, my definition of excellence is getting the basics right. Yeah. But the basics are also changing every day. One of the basics things you have to embrace AI. You utilize ChatGPT as a tool to get to something faster, and that's exactly what digital is. It's just merely a tool. But in our industry, we're never going to change the relationship side of things, so we can connect more. And so yeah, I love change. I love energy, and change creates new energy.
Yeah. I love what you're saying there. And I mean, you touched a little bit on purpose, and that's something that everybody, I think, in life is trying to find. I think a lot of people listening to this are like, purpose. Where do we find purpose? How did you find your purpose? What did you? Was there a certain shift or a certain change in life that made you go, this is my purpose in life, and this is actually where I need to be? And how did you go about that? Were you thinking about it? Were you like going, I need to spend a week and find my purpose? Did you go and do a getaway in the bush and be alone? How did you go about that?
I think finding purpose is a journey. I can remember a lot of defining moments, and I was an accountant. I've been at TableCharm for 30 years now, and pretty much from articles, one or two stints at another direct selling company, given this opportunity. And it was around about 2009 when I was offered the position of MD with TableCharm, and I initially declined it because I found the thought of it quite daunting. We would have to go and speak in front of people. I liked the COO role and the CFO role, finance, and that was behind the scenes. But at the time, I was questioning generally spirituality. I mean, does God exist? Does a minister believe in what he's saying? And I started seeking that answer for myself and asking questions for myself, and it became quite spiritual. But it was people that ultimately that come into your life that are most important, that can inspire you and recognize what you don't see in yourself. And I think people helped me realize that I've got a potential to step up and give hope and opportunity to a group of people that don't see it for themselves, or never had an opportunity to earn an income or go to school or go to university, but with natural talent that needed to be nurtured and harnessed, kind of thing. So for me, the purpose became really around, hey, I'm in a position of authority to a person that much is given, I can give back. And that was quite fun. For me, I'm quite a jokey, networking people, but when it comes to people and business, I'm serious about it. And I'm going to drive them, and I'm going to try and help them to be inspired to reach new heights. And I think along the way, there were people that challenged me. And so purpose became a very big thing. But it's very prevalent in what we do, is to give people hope and opportunity. Purpose has been quite big. And I think during COVID, if I can bring that up, I think businesses that like really I thought did well was and that the people that didn't get too depressed or were within businesses that had a purpose. We were out there to get out there and just make things happen. And so yeah, we've been fortunate to have a strong purpose. But in my life, it's also is one day when I pass away, because we're all going to do that. It's a reality in life. Is what are the people going to say about you at a funeral? They're going to. I don't want to talk about, hey, I drive a nice car. It's more about, hey, Mike did something in their life. Mike inspired me enough to reach my purpose in life.
Do you think about that a lot?
Yeah. I do, because there's quite a little amount of time left. I mean, even if I spent another 10 years at TableCharm, because I've got a vision, and I think the vision is I see ourselves almost being a little bit more different to what we are today. I mean, I literally see everybody should be part of what we do, and we can morph or grow into so many new avenues. You talked about change, but just being digitally connected. We went from dinnerware, pots and pans, to now financial offerings. Yeah. It's been one massive journey. I talk a lot, so I will give you time. But the reality of it is that embracing change, seeking new opportunities, not overthinking it. From a cycling point of view, we can elaborate. And in fact, didn't we meet on a bicycle?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, in the middle of the bush. And one of my friend's bicycle wheel actually broke down. You stopped around there, and that's how we actually caught up. And I believe a lot as well in things happen for a reason. And I think. I don't know about you and your feelings around it, but I think a person needs to really just realize that certain things happen for a reason. And you can either see it as a negative or you can see it as a positive. But, meeting you that day has taken us on a long journey. I mean, we've done a lot of stuff together, and we've just enjoyed each other's company a lot. But as I said, I think one of the things that I'm inspired about you is your energy. And you always say that the person with the biggest energy wins. Can you maybe elaborate a little bit more on why you say that? Because, a lot of people out there might say, okay, biggest energy wins, and it just goes straight over your head. It's like, biggest energy wins. But what is energy to you?
Energy is getting out there every day and doing it again and again and again. Let's talk about sales, for example. So sales essentially is a process that if you do it over and over and over and again, you excel. You become better at it. You have more rejections, like, for example, in your industry when you started off than where you are now, because you've made practice perfect, and practice is essentially putting a whole lot of energy out there. But in my mind is, if you look at busy people, active people, no matter how busy they are, if you want something done, give it to a busy person. There's people that just get it done. And for me, our highest energy is never giving up. I will rather have died trying than not having tried at all. Even if I'm knocked down today, I'm going to stand up tomorrow. That to me is energy.
Oh, I enjoy that. That's a great way of putting it. And I think, and it's true, if you look at most business guys out there, you look at, they talk about, who was it? It was Colonel Sanders that I think went around and tried to sell off, I think it was Colonel Sanders, they tried to sell off the chicken and just never got it right. And only after a certain time frame was able to get an investor and able to make this thing happen. And it's that just knocking on all the doors and never giving up.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's about.
And for me, we have to work on one another's mindsets, I mean, it's easy to be negative in the world, all right? Yeah. And people tend to look at the one thing that people get wrong and quickly point out that, versus the 9 things that we got right. And rather just compliment each other we've got a little saying in TC, celebrate the wins, and every day talk about like being grateful. I mean, you're a big guy and waking up and having gratitude. Gratitude, having the right kind of mindset. But the mind is so powerful, especially when it comes to setting goals, because if you set yourself a goal, you immediately are going to start changing your daily behavior. For example, I'm going to do the Cape Epic again. I haven't done it for a while. I think the last time I did the Cape Epic was 2014. That was my fourth one, so this will be my fifth one.
That's crazy.
But the minute I decided and committed to do the Epic, I'm immediately on my bike often. And it's almost like a subconscious thing that one's achieving it. I have done the Manga, which is regarded as the most grueling cycle event in the world from a mountain biking gravel perspective, and that's because you do 1,126 k's non-stop, okay, and you've got 60 hours to do it, and you literally have to cycle 300 plus kilometers per day through the heat and whatever conditions there are. So it is a physically grueling race, but for me, this last year I was hectically busy at work, and I needed just to get away from the office and just be alone. And for me, I actually needed to really be weak so that I can draw on God's strength, and that's exactly what happened. I knew I hadn't done enough hours to actually complete this race, but mentally I was there and spiritually I was there, and that's what drove me, kind of thing. And yeah, so I think if you're spiritually inspired or mentally inspired, it's amazing what energy you can do and what challenges you can take on. But it's that never quitting. If you overthink things, I mean, if I had to think about cycling that even today, and I'm reasonably fit, oh no, the thought of going out and cycling 300 odd Ks 4 to 5 days in a row is unpleasant.
Yeah.
So I didn't think that. I just thought about the end goal, coming across the finishing line, and I had achieved that. So yeah, you have to have many bite-sized goals or micro goals to achieve a big goal. So I just focus on 100 kilometers at a time. If I had to think about it, I've still got 800 to go. The first 100 Ks is the worst. I'd literally I'd die. So sometimes you just have to go in, do it.
Yeah.
I mean, have a vision, but the mindset you must be inspired.
Yeah.
And at all times, and surround yourself with people that will make you and develop you, not people that will bring you down. Look, that said, though, I always say you can be in the difference in somebody's life. So it's important to greet, say hi, how are you?
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, it's true, and you're talking about the goals right now, and there's two areas where people are running towards, and I've been investigating these two areas. And the one area is that you shouldn't set a goal because you're setting up yourself for disappointment, right? So if you don't achieve that goal, you're going to be disappointed and depressed and down. And then there's another area where you've got to set goals, and I went to that other point of not setting goals. I decided I'm not going to set goals because I don't want to be disappointed and I don't want to be upset.
Loser.
But then I heard I was at a function the other night, and it was one of our top functions, and we had an international guy that was there. He's one of the top podcasters in the world, and discussing stuff, and he was saying that when you set a goal, even if you don't achieve it, the point is you're still going to be better off than when you didn't start it. So, and that struck home, right? So it felt to me like, and I've seen it a lot in my life, whether it be in sport, whether it be in business, whether it be in relationships, whether it be whatever, if you don't have a certain goal in place of where you want to go to, then you just go with the flow and see what happens. And I don't believe in that at all anymore, because I've been through that phase in my life, and I've come to realize that when I've set a goal, that even if I haven't achieved the goal, I'm still better off than having not set that goal. It's just it's just weird how that comes about. So setting goals, although there's a lot of people talking on Instagram and all these type of things about that you shouldn't be setting goals and setting yourself up for disappointment, I think the side of setting those goals and not achieving those goals and resetting is to maybe go, okay, I didn't achieve this goal. Let me reset. Let me see where I can get to. Because sometimes we do set goals that are way above our limits because we feel that we can try and achieve this, and then we don't. I mean, as you know, I set a goal with you to do the manga, right? And it was a major upsetting time for me when I went through the problem I went through on my back, and that, it kind of broke me down in terms of, will I ever be able to do this? Will I achieve it? Why did I even try and do this thing? And but I've come to realize that if I didn't set that goal, I wouldn't have been at the physical the position to be able to have ridden 12, 13, 14 hours through the night with you. I would never have been at that point. So that is an achievement that I had gone through and made. If I didn't do it, I would have still been doing my 2-hour little cycles or 3-hour little cycles. So I had achieved actually a lot more, but it's understanding that mindset that I've achieved a lot more than I would have. And through achieving that, now I can reset and say, okay, what is the next goal I can achieve from there? And not look back and say, because I didn't do this, I'm now upset.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer of goals, and also having context, because everyone's got a point. Not everyone hums the same tune as you or understands the tune that you have. I'm humming a song now. Now, do you know what I'm humming?
Hey, sexy lady.
Yeah, and you think everyone is understanding your hum or singing along to your tune, whereas they don't necessarily know. So what I have in my head is quite different to what you may have heard or what you've interpreted or whatever. And so in the context where somebody says, they don't necessarily believe in goals. I mean, they may have had a particular hum or tune that they were singing to and a different understanding. I'm different. I'm a firm believer of setting goals, but just listening to you, I've learned. And at every junction in your life, you can learn a lot. And in this one when you started talking about your goal, and your goal was, for example, was manga or whatever the case may be, but you defined it to one particular timeline, and I think maybe that's what's wrong with things, is that we set a timeline to it or a particular result. For example, I'm going to do the manga, but as you said, that lead up, it's a journey. Are you a better person for setting that goal? You may have you've always achieved your goal because you may have been 1% closer, 50% closer, 80% closer. But you got 80% there, and then you had an injury, but you transformed as a person. You took on new challenges, you met new people, you acquired a bicycle, you created a relationship with the bicycle shop owner. You are always been successful by pushing the boundaries somewhat. And I think it's the journey that's I think the most important thing in what I'm listening to you here, and you are definitely a better person for it. And a big example is like to go and do the manga. You create a lot of oxidative stress in doing it. So I don't think it's particularly healthy. That actual final element of doing the manga, it's unhealthy. People die in that event. Okay, yeah. So that's unhealthy, and you cycling at 48 degrees, dehydrated. It's insane. It's silly. It's stupid. But the journey up to that starting line is the healthy part. Yeah. And I think that's like you know what you experienced in this thing.
So what talking about. What my favorite quote is, I've got it at my house, is life is a journey, not a destination.
Yeah.
And I think when we can start relating a lot more to understanding that life is more about the journey than the destination, that's where we find happiness, right? Because happiness, I did a little story once on my Instagram about happiness, and everyone's trying to find happiness, but happiness is a feeling, right? It's like hunger. When you're hungry, that's a feeling that you got. You feed the hunger, and then it's gone. And I think everybody's striving for this thing called happiness, when in actual fact, when you have got gratitude and you actually are at a place where you can say, listen, yeah, what I've got right now is actually enough. I can get through this. That takes you on a different level of happiness, because then you can be happy with what you got right now. I'm not saying you must be away from being a person that has got a lot of ambition and drive and goals, but I think you've got to still be in that place of gratitude, and through gratitude, that's where you'll find happiness. And because I know in the mornings, if I sit in the mornings, I do this whole 5 a.m. club, and it's a bit. I'm busy with a life coach right now in regards to it, and she says I'm very strict on myself, and it could be actually a bore. Sometimes in the morning it kind of upsets me, because I'm not doing it anymore out of enjoyment. I'm doing it more out of, trying to do it every time. And I think in the mornings, the gratitude part for me is very important, because that is just sitting there in the quiet times and just going, okay, what do I have? I've got a roof over my head. I've got food in the fridge. I've got businesses that are running and doing well. I've got friends. I've got family. I've still got my mom and dad. All these type of things are very different outlooks when you're thinking of it on a gratitude point. And then you can go out into the world and be actually happy, because you're happy with what you got. And I don't know, do you, your practice of gratitude, or what, do you see gratitude a lot, or do you feel gratitude a lot?
I very rarely stop to be grateful for what happens in my life. One of the biggest killers, I believe, is routine. So you talk about the 5 a.m. club. That's discipline, and it's a regiment.
Yeah.
And I believe, that's practice, and, you have to be disciplined to achieve a goal, all right? And as an example. So, but I also like question routine, all right? So you're talking about gratitude. We've been talking about mindset. We're talking about goals, and we mustn't forget that, like, our brain is an organ, but it's a very powerful thing. So you need to exercise it and challenge it, and so I like the fact that it's good to have routine, but you must add new things to your life, and in that we're so busy. We have to stop, think, act at a particular point in time, and just be really grateful. So I'm grateful that I still exist, that I manage a big organization made up of the most wonderful people that have completely different upbringings to me. I mean, we're in the lower LSM 1 to 3 environments, and we've got an opportunity to go out there and inspire people. Sean, I'm very open. Our community is our family, and I'm always grateful that as a white man, who was subjected to having to go to the army. Fortunately, I didn't. I ended up going to the police force, and I just played tennis and soccer all the time. I had issues because I didn't understand where we were at in those days. I had lots of questions, and I was so fortunate to let TableCharm just transform me into who I am, kind of thing. But, I have regularly, our event on Saturday, we had 6,000 people attend. Yeah. And I'm so grateful that people can see me for not skin color, for not being male or female, just seeing me from my heart. And I think, we should be judged by our heart, and I'm grateful that my eyes have been open to so many opportunities. But, you must listen for opportunities. And, I'm very spiritual. And I think God, if you ask Him to help you, to open doors for you, to meet people, and to set you in different directions kind of thing, so many things can happen in life. I'm just so grateful. We would need hours and hours for me to just talk about a journey of the things that I've learned in life. But the most important thing in life is to be quick to forgive, say you're sorry, but just to listen to understand and not to respond. If you listen to people, it's amazing what you can learn. You were talking earlier, I'm learning things because I'm goal driven. There's a defined moment, and I'm realizing just listening to you, like, failure is still a form of success, because when you fail, you reset, you learn, you recover, you come back stronger. And gratitude is something that I am grateful. I'm grateful generally, but I think you're a firm believer. I think you can talk to me more about being gratitude. I don't stop often enough to actually think about these things. I want to go. There's another person's life to change. We can evolve. We can do better. Reset. I've got a nice little thing that I learned from a guy, Barry, from Uncovering Greatness. It's a simple tool. Look at your life, or look at your business, or look at something. What worked? What didn't work? What do I want to do more of? And it can be in your relationship. It can be in your personal life, at business. But you can do it weekly, monthly, annually.
I really like that. That's something amazing to look at. What is it again? What worked?
Yeah, what worked? What didn't work? What do you want to do more of? We've got too much energy, ADHD, whatever we want to call ourselves. And I spoke about listen to understand, because it's amazing how our conversations go. I mean, it can go in multiple directions. Yeah. And sometimes in life you must actually let go. There's a saying in spiritually, let go, let God.
Yeah.
Because like people in bigger positions, like myself, I'm Virgo, born in September, 9/11 baby. That's obviously when the Twin Towers things happened, but I like to be in control, and I think that's just one of the characteristics of being in a Virgo. But to let go and let others do is also an important thing. So there's just so many lessons in life, but I enjoy the way our conversations go, because you asked me a question, I may or may not answer it directly, because in life's about a conversation. What you're doing today, we need to listen to others to learn. Every day we're learning, no matter what your age is. Yeah. But because we need to challenge ourselves. I'm back to the brain. Challenge your brain. Yeah. Because I think look after your brain.
Do you feel that endurance sport or any form of sport actually builds those foundational blocks to being able to achieve in business and being able to get to a point where you push through, having grit? Do you feel that? It's just something that's always amused me.
It's interesting. Fortunate endurance is all relative, which is also a good thing. It could be to somebody who's never run or cycled, to cycle 5 kilometers or run a race of 5 kilometers. To some of your friends that are doing the Ironman, or people doing manga, endurance has a different meaning. So anything that challenges you, or you haven't done something before that really scares you, could be in the form of endurance. But setting yourself goals or challenges that scare you, I think helps a lot. But absolutely doing an endurance event just shows you how much stronger your body is than what you think it is. I call it extra genetic potential. You can be better, bigger than really you are, by building your bean. And I think, having a strong bean is important. And how you build a bean is setting yourselves like big challenges, like big endurance events. I mean, it could be whatever it is in life. It could be like hiking. We talk endurance, we tend to talk about sporting events, but you could also take on a big challenge, be it in charity or whatever the case may be, and are you prepared to endure? But it's certainly shown me then that if you set your mind on it, you absolutely can do it. In the manga, like in midday and it gets so hot and you literally like you're not feeling well, you're nauseous, you've had heat stroke, you're tired, but you know that evening is coming. And I'm a bigger guy, and so I like cycling at night because I need to be cool, because when you put in power out, you're generating heat. So I just get into the evening and the sun sets and you see the moon and the stars and that type of thing, and you just, if you endure, you're going to conquer. So, I mean, we could talk a lot about endurance, but definitely it defines you. Setting yourself challenges and conquering them. And a failure just leads you closer to success. It's in sales. I mean, how many no's do you get? But you're not far away from a yes, so just keep going.
You're closer to a yes. The more no's you get, the closer you get to a yes, right?
No, absolutely.
And so, Mike, just in terms of your getting to know you as a person, in your mornings, what does your mornings look like? What happens in your mornings? When do you get up? What time do you get up? What do you do? How's your mornings look in the morning?
Well, once again, it's situational most of the time. Like right now, I'm doing the epic training, so I'm going to get up and I'm going to go for a cycle. I like cycling at night, so I can cycle in the evening. I like putting my lights on and going out there, getting a bit scared now and again. But it is situational. I've got a very hectic...
Sorry, but talking about that getting scared at night, you told me a story about on the manga where you see these...
The night monsters.
The night monsters. We'll go back to now the conversation we're having, but the night monsters, maybe just tell us about these little night monsters that a person sees. And it's known on the manga guys, right? It's one of these things that happen.
Yeah, I mean, in training for the manga, I was joining somebody, a friend of mine, Dan, a great athlete, and he decided he's going to do the 1,000 miler, but typical Dan fashion, he's going to go and try and break the record. No, I wasn't humming to his tune, okay? But I'll go along. I'll see what I can do. I was cycling along, and then because of all the dust and that, I got nosebleeds, and I was just bleeding everywhere. In the middle of nowhere, no signal. And I said to Dad, now look, Dad, he's on record pace. You carry on. I'll see you later, kind of thing. And it was a funny story. I mean, that's just one of them is sorted out, and I'm carrying on. And then I saw these, I think probably Zulu warriors, because, Zulu man is a tough oak. But there was just lights and this weird, and I just heard noises and whatever the case may be. And, I probably was hallucinating. It happened to be the other way, just to be a donkey cart that was going on. Kind of thing. But, I mean, people have seen... we call them night monsters. Often it's just a shadow, or it's a buck, or there's just something happening. But you fall asleep on your bike, kind of thing. Yeah. You do, and then you either fall off or you bash into the side of the road, or something scares you. These night monsters. But it is amazing what you can see. Yeah.
Yes. So going back now to that. Your morning routine. So you don't mind going out at night, and then in the mornings you'll do your cycle. And obviously you're now training for the epic. How much? This is your fourth one, right?
It'll be my fifth one.
Fifth one now.
But I mean, I know what I'd like to do. I'd like to wake up not tired. I mean, my day, I'm exhausted by the time get to bed. I need to read something just to break mindset, kind of thing. And I'm just grateful for waking up the other day to do something new. my best days if I spend a bit of time like in the Word kind of thing. I'm so busy that I don't do that, but I've every opportunity. I like looking at if I had a theology, it's going to be looking at creation, and can I see God's existence in the beautiful things that I see, be it the stars, the earth, the sunrise, or people. A smile. I believe the Spirit of God is shown through a smile. You're a great guy that smiles. I'm too serious kind of thing. You'll get moments of me when I'm a jokey kind of thing, and you probably see more of that, but mostly I'm serious. So I'm regimented in the morning. I'm going to climb on a bicycle and I'll maximize it, but I start thinking about my day. So I start and it's nothing better being on a bicycle with the right kind of endorphins and seeing the sunrise and possibly bumping into people. But we live at Stain City. I mean, we're so privileged to live there. It's just amazing. And being on a bicycle there, you have a completely different experience to being on a golf cart or just driving through. But just being able to it feels like you're in the bush. And you've seen springbuck and you've seen impala, and it's just amazing there. And so I reflect on my day, what I want to achieve. Mostly two things. I'm praying for God to say, listen, what are we going to do today? What is it, God, that you want me to do today? So that's a strong component to me. And then, of course, I have to pray for protection, because you drive down Winnie Mandela Drive in the morning. Yeah, that's a war zone. But normally it would start with exercise and straight focused on to finding out what Lauren's going to do. Yeah. I met my wife at school. We spoke about my journey, but I did. And that was in 1986.
You look good for the 1800s.
Yeah, look, I'm on these body tonics. We always joke about our retirement age in TableCharm is 100, because done right with old people. They're biased. And I wanted to get the message across for our sales force to start looking after themselves. And we brought this range in called Body Tonics. And, you take Body Tonic number 14, for strength and vitality, and for male as body, or for joints as Body Tonic 10. So when we speak to table-charmers, take Body Tonic number 14, and then your retirement age becomes from 75 to 100. Yeah. So it went from 65, and then I said retirement age 75. Now we got now it's 100. So everyone who talks TableCharm now are retired 100. Yeah. I mean, we got a couple of people. Anna Makonza, I mean, she's at 74. She's flat out, and she's embraced technology. So even them, they got routines. We go out recruit every day. You must recruit everywhere. You recruit anywhere, all time, anywhere. All over the place, kind of thing. So, starting off the day with a bit of activity, I reckon, sets you up for a great day. Yeah. And then you're less stressed at work, because then you can work till 6, 7 o'clock and, do whatever you have to do. Yeah.
So part of being wholeful is also your health, right? So I know you take a lot of stuff in the mornings, and you've got certain little shakes and everything that you do. How do you look after your health? I know you exercise and you train, but what do you take, for instance, in the mornings? What type of vitamins? What do you recommend is something that's good for a person to live a longer and healthier life?
Relationships are important, because fortunately, Lauren, my wife, is very healthy, so she keeps me healthy. So we eat healthy food. I know what I should be doing. I'm like much on the go, but it's just basically eating anything that God's provided you. You have to be careful of all the synthetic stuff. So TableCharm has very much been about looking at what God's given us. Take moringa, for example. I'm more inclined to take a moringa than a multivitamin. If you look at how more potent moringa is, be it rooibos, cancerbush, all these kind of these products. But for me, I think it's important to have a blood test, especially if you're over the age of 30 and you take regular blood tests. So your blood will tell you what you need. So I'm a firm believer in that. And then to regularly do blood tests. And there's amazing health practitioners now. I believe in holistic health. I think even doctors are, I'm certainly not an expert, but there's a lot of doctors that are looking at like natural products, so where you can. But there's definitely a place for supplementation. But I think it should be determined by what you need, what your body needs, and taking a blood test is a pretty good idea. But yeah, I absolutely take a lot of supplementation.
What do you take? What are the supplements you take?
All 20, you want to know?
Tell us, let's let everyone know. What do you do?
Look, at the moment, from a basics perspective, I mean, I'm not going to endorse anyone's brand, but Stamina Grow is a very good multivitamin with a lot of things in there. But yeah, I'll take omegas in the morning, and I'll take a good multivitamin and a moringa. For me, I want to look after my heart. I take coenzyme Q10, and for stress, I'm looking at resveratrol. More recently, though, you actually found out before me it was lion's mane, for example. Yeah. So I'm using that quite a lot. I think it's really benefited me from a calmness point of view. Yeah. There's different types of magnesium, so I'm very much into magnesium. Glycinate is probably the one that is most useful to most people from a sleep perspective, as such. But I also I think it's latrionate from a brain perspective. So I'll take that in the morning, glycinate at night. And dabbling a little bit in CBD. I mean, just because we've met MK and Malusi at Stein, I mean, they've got that company called Dank, and they into cannabis. That's not quite my thing, but certainly from a CBD point of view, only because it's natural. So I think from a national perspective, it's pretty good. But you'd be quite shocked to see what I can take. I mean, there's certain things that I like take for energy. Look, but when you do endurance, you need carbohydrates. I mean, yes, some people might like to go into ketosis and that, and use more fat, and I think the body will sort itself out. But when you are cycling hours and hours and hours, and I'm like 24-hour in events, I believe in just taking carbohydrate. But natural foods are always good. I always have a shake in the morning, and I throw a lot of things. I throw oats because I always think that's good for cholesterol, and I'm throwing in berries and yogurt and then seeds, and there's a whole lot of things, and then a banana and water and you name it. But I think a lot of us need to make sure that we're drinking a lot of water. So stay hydrated and be careful what water you're drinking at the same time.
I think it's that's one of my biggest problems is water and the hydration. I can definitely feel that if I drink a lot of water through the day, that I feel a lot better than when I drink. There was a stage in my life where I drank absolutely no water, a zero. Yeah. I'd be drinking beers and Cokes.
And that's not water. I thought it's not water.
It's got water in it. I thought it's got water in it. But and I've kind of come to realize if I drink at least 2.5 liters of water, I just feel a lot less bloated. I feel more revived. I feel that my skin's complexion's a lot better. It's amazing, actually, water. I think it's a simple thing, but water is one of the most important ingredients for us.
And people are very worried about dementia and Alzheimer's, and it's quite linked to not having water. So I think it's a necessity. It's a requirement. We have to be educating ourselves around water. Yeah, absolutely. You need to.
It's very interesting that, and it's just a personal observation that I've had. It's just like it's crazy. Yeah. When I drink a lot of water through the day, I actually feel a lot better.
Yeah. Sean, if just everything about life, I mean, Lauren, my wife, speaks a lot about it, but everything in balance and moderation, I think, is the most important thing. So if you're overdoing it, cycling the manga, once again, is not healthy, but everything is in moderation. If you look at those people who are healthy, who live longer lives, so if you want to live a long life, do everything in moderation. All right. I raced motor cars. I raced motorbikes. I've set myself massive. I'm flat out. I set high challenges. That's not going to get me a long life kind of thing. Unless, of course, God intends to humor me and keep me on earth longer than I intend to be kind of thing. But everything in life is about balance, moderation, the right amount of sleep, the right amount of stress, because there's good stress, bad stress, what challenge you take on life. But everything, just look up the definition of balance. I mean, the whole world is about balance, positive and negatives, together to create energy and so balance, I think, would be the most, because people live in the extreme. Balanced wealth, I mean, you can have when's enough? You just talk about like massive wealth. I mean, for me as a company, we create generational wealth. TableCharm gives hope. It gives a future, and it's about generational wealth. And often that's about passing on. But it's not just passing on wealth. It's passing on lessons and attitudes and gratefulness and tools that people can navigate through their life. So I encourage everybody. It's all going to be about having balance. I've almost forgiven up on that, though. I don't give up, I say, but to me, I like to just push boundaries just to see where their limits are. But if you think about it, you play rugby, a top sportsman, you get damaged. You're going to need a knee replacement, a hip replacement somewhere along. Somebody who never did sport and they just walked. And don't forget about the basics. I spoke about excellence is getting the basics right. Walking is so healthy. It's even healthier if you actually walk with your wife and hold a hand, for example.
True.
All right, balance.
Talking about that, we're gonna go. Part of our dynamics is family, and I mean, you've got a beautiful wife, Lauren. You've got a beautiful son, Mike. You've got a beautiful daughter, Kelsey. And I mean, I've gotten to know them very well, and they're just such amazing people. And in around family, how do you balance work, family, and how how did you get it right to raise such amazing children with you and your wife?
Well, thank you for that, Sean. Definitely. It's certainly. I'm gonna have to give credit to my wife. I think my kids have seen me focus on doing other things for other people, because TC TableCharm is a family, and it genuinely is a family. I mean, you've witnessed it. We care. When somebody passes away, like Zandile. 2 weeks ago, we as a TableCharm family and executive go to the funeral. We go into the communities. It's a massive family. But in some ways, I feel like I failed because I've just got such a large family that I focus on, that I worry about, because I haven't spent enough time with Kelsey and Luke. Fortunately, Luke's now in the business, so so I'll get time to spend to him, and he's already seen what TableCharm does. But I've just been absolutely blessed that maybe because I've been so driven, my kids have learned a lot more from my perspective. And then with Lauren bringing balance in their life. But my proudest moment is, and I think the most important thing for me is to pray for your children. And fortunately that Luke and Kelsey have given their lives to the Lord, not by forcing, but by following example. So we can parent well by just being the example that you want your kids to be. I've one of 5, Kelsey. Lauren's one of 5. It's a massive family. I'm not fortunate to spend enough time with them. I'm more one of those emergency things. When the pop hits the fan, phone me. I'm going to be there. But just for the occasional chit chat, unlikely. But then I've got sisters and brothers to do that for me. Yeah. But our family is a whole different discussion. But a family is just not by blood. Family is community. It's our business. It's your work colleagues, like-minded people, and South Africa is a family. We've all got massive families.
Well, Mike, I must obviously congratulate you on how well you've brought up your children, because I've met both of them, and they're superstars. I mean, Kelsey, I mean, is in law. She's focused. She's dynamic. She really wants to. She knows where she's going. You don't have to even ask her. She knows where she's going. And then you've got Luke. He's just such an amazing guy. He's such a likable guy. He's got a big heart. He's such a giving person. And I mean, you guys have done so well with your children. And even though you've been pushing and working and doing all these things, I mean, between you and Lauren, you guys have done an absolutely amazing job. So well done to you guys in that. That's an absolutely amazing achievement. And to still be the type of businessman that you are and have built a company up to that's absolutely amazing is exceptional. And that's a little secret that will be, there must be some secret in that you can maybe share with everybody, because there's it could be a lot of spirituality that came out of that, right?
Without a doubt. I think you have to be authentic. Yeah, I think you have to be brave enough to be who you are and not hide things. People ultimately, for people to accept who you are, we all get it wrong, okay? So, but learn in those times you get it wrong. But just be grateful, be thankful. But only God knows. I honestly believe God is giving me something because it's never in my own strength, and that we've been here. I mean, Kelsey and Luke have got the best of both of me. Kelsey's a lot more serious than Luke. Luke is, she's driven. She went into law. Luke, I believe, is going to change communities, kind of thing, as such. And yeah, I mean, I think God's given us the perfect balance. I had children starting with Kelsey, and then Luke, boy, girl, all right, and then Lauren, because we always wondered about not having bigger families, because we both come from a bigger family, but I see my TC family has been very much part of that, and my success is that my children have seen that, and they're part of that. I mean, you were at a function where I talk about my wife, I talk about my family at work and with our people, and they're
all there supporting you. Every single one of them are there supporting. It's amazing.
Yeah. And I think that's it. Share. Don't be afraid to share your vulnerability. You know what I mean? You must be confident in what I'm doing as a businessman, but show your heart, show people what you're about, share your family, share your spirituals, share your doubts, share your challenges. And people in doing so will see that you are authentic, and people will trust you. So I learned from a colleague of mine, David Thomas, to have hot conversations, honest, open, transparent. And when we shout out at work, hot, okay? It may have offended somebody. Now we're going to be honest, we're going to be open, we're going to be transparent, but it's a trusting environment, and families should be about trust. And it's an interesting journey. I mean, we've been going for a while now, and but I could speak hours and hours on family and what my experiences with family.
No, well done. I must congratulate you on that. You guys have done an exceptional job on that. And last question is, what is the legacy that you want to leave? So what we do is, at the end of every conversation, we ask our speaker, and then you've got to tell us what is the question that you want to leave for our next speaker. But obviously we don't have a speaker before this, because you're the first person here. So I'm going to just throw it out there. So what is the legacy that you want to be able to leave in your life right now?
Well, definitely for me, I don't want my legacy to be in rands, and it mustn't be measured in rands. My legacy must be about, have I created opportunity for future generations? And for me, so my legacy is about have I given somebody hope? Have I inspired them, to earn an income, and then to pass it on? But for me, legacy is about, have I given opportunity to future generations? Our business at TableCharm is unlike any other direct selling company. I could be wrong, but for us, when you leave a network, you were part of a MLM company. You didn't leave with your network. When you leave, you leave. Your network stays with the company, kind of thing. Whereas ours, it can be passed on to future generations. So we've got mothers that have passed businesses on to their sons and daughters and future generation, and it's creating generational wealth through that. So for me, I would like to, my legacy is that I've inspired people to do it for themselves and to pass it on to others.
Great. Mike, thanks for your time.
Yeah.
You're a superstar. And thanks for everything. You're really a great inspiration. And I think everybody that gets to meet you really just enjoys your company, and really appreciate you a lot. So thanks for your time today.
Yeah, thank you. And keep doing what you're doing. I mean, just the fact that you're reaching out and sharing people's stories, because there's so many amazing stories that should be shared with others, and because we're learning in doing so. So well done. Keep it up.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks a lot.